Quantum Break is the latest time-bending action game from Remedy Entertainment, the company responsible for games like Death Rally in 1996, which I played the hell out of when I was a kid, then Max Payne in 2001 with its revolutionary bullet time mechanic, and of course Alan Wake in 2010. Originally, instead of this game, we were actually supposed to get the sequel to Alan Wake, and personally, I would have much rather preferred the sequel to Alan Wake than this fucking game. For me, Alan Wake was a thrilling experience with some really interesting ideas behind it, but the story ends on a cliffhanger and there hasn't been a second game in like 7 years. Partially because Microsoft wanted something different with interactive storytelling, so the focus was shifted. There is more to it than that, but that's basically the short version on how we got Quantum Break, a third-person shooter game that revolves around time, manipulating time travel, with the tagline, time is power. Now after all the possibilities, how could you go wrong? Well, it's time to take a look. These are the things that piss me off in Quantum Break. Live action episodes. Quantum Break tries to mix television experience with gameplay. There's no denying the fact that Remedy took a huge risk with this, and if you like this type of storytelling in a video game, then that's fine, I can totally understand. But unfortunately, I happen to be one of those assholes who thinks a bit differently.
Yeah, me too.
So here's the thing. Every time you finish an act of the game, you get to watch a live-action episode. My first problem is that the episodes are 20 minutes long. Yeah, basically you get to watch a 20-minute cutscene. That's more than enough time for the controller to turn off automatically. Now to be fair, if the episodes wouldn't be that long, then there also wouldn't be much point in having them. But in my opinion, that's exactly how it should have fucking been in the first place. No live action episodes. I don't know about you, but for me it breaks the immersion, not the other way around. The episodes are way too long for a video game, and honestly, they're not even that good to begin with. There's a lot of boring, ridiculous moments, and whenever there was an action sequence, I always felt that I would much rather experience these sections in the form of gameplay, because in the end, that's what this is, a fucking video game.
Whatever happened to you, change it.
Don't.
We can fix this.
Don't.
Now, of course, I can skip these episodes. Nobody's forcing me to watch these, but that means I would still miss out on some parts of the story, and that really sucks since the story in the game is pretty damn good. So to understand the details on a higher level, I had to sit through all of them, and a couple of times I almost fell asleep. So obviously this live action bullshit is not for me. It's an interesting idea, and I can definitely understand taking risks, but if I want to watch TV, then I'm just gonna watch TV. This is a video game, for fuck's sakes.
How the fuck did this happen, Morton?
Cover system and more. The cover system sucks, if you can actually call this a cover system. Whenever there's a shootout and you stand behind something, then Jack will automatically crouch down. Now, I really don't like this. That's like if you take a dump and someone else wipes your ass. It makes running around while holding a weapon so stupid to watch when Jack just randomly crouches down in certain places, when you actually have no intention of doing it.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
What's wrong with the snap-in, snap-out cover system that's executed with a press of a button? I thought that was okay, but that's only the beginning. Not only does the cover system suck, you also can't blind fire. And just for one more kick in the balls, you can't even fire from the hip, which means you can't run and shoot at the same time.
God damn it.
So with all of this garbage, let me show you an example of a very possible scenario in this game. I'll draw this out on paper. So this is the cover, and this is Jack behind the cover. Now let's say that there's a bad guy shooting at me. As long as I'm behind the cover, I'm safe, obviously. But now, let's say that one more goon approaches from this side. Since I'm not sticking to the cover and I can't hip fire while crouching down, I'm gonna have to press the aim button to shoot. But when I press the aim button, then this goddamn idiot stands up, which means I'm gonna get shredded on both sides. Now what the fuck is that all about? What a dick move, game. Yeah, I know that I have powers. I could use time shield or just quickly dash out of the way, but for me that's no excuse to not include such basic mechanics, especially in a game like this. Usually games that implement an automated cover system have more different mechanics to consider, so it's understandable. But Quantum Break? Come on. It's just simple shooting, very simple platforming, and powers. There's no stealth, no gadgets, no vehicles, so you can automatically kiss my ass with this crap.
No problem.
Final boss battle. The final boss fight is a grand motherload of disappointment. After this crazy time-traveling adventure, I was expecting a satisfying, decent, and most importantly, a memorable final showdown. But the only reason why this boss fight is memorable is because of how fucking lame it is. Basically, it's pretty much the same boss fight like Joker in Batman Arkham Asylum. Don't believe me? Well, let's analyze.
No, stop him!
The boss fight begins with the main bad guy standing on high ground and you can't attack him. Then you have to deal with a bunch of henchmen. Check. Once all the henchmen are dealt with, the antagonist changes positions and begins attacking you, and you still can't attack him. When the boss finishes attacking, he becomes vulnerable, and then you can deliver a counterattack. And finally, repeat the same process all over again. Double check, you sons of bitches. So as you can see, it's the exact same formula. And guess what? It sucked in Arkham Asylum, and you can bet your ass that it sucks in this game as well. What a letdown. We have two characters with amazing time-bending powers, and this is what we get? Jesus Christ, man.
I never wanted this.
Power upgrades. When it comes to the power upgrades, then there's barely any creativity here. I mean, anyone can come up with this shit. The upgrades are so basic, mostly about extending an ability's radius, duration, range, you know, the usual stuff. And of course, basic upgrades are necessary and helpful, but in Quantum Break, that's all there is. It's like they didn't even try developing a deeper upgrade system, just like how they probably didn't try to come up with better names for the powers. Time vision, time stop, time dodge, time shield. Yeah, I know that I'm nitpicking on this one, but I just can't help myself. Look, we get it. This game is about time. I mean, even the loading icon looks like a fucking hourglass, but don't tell me you can't come up with better names and upgrades for the powers.
Fuck you.
Anyway, for a person like me who loves playing games where you have superpowers, then having an interesting upgrade variety is important. It's what gets me excited about all the new possibilities and what makes me calculate on how and what am I gonna spend my upgrade points on. But in this game, I just didn't care. Nothing stands out on this list. You're going to unlock all the powers anyway, and on my first playthrough, I barely collected any of these upgrade points, since the upgrades are just flat out boring. I beat the game on normal difficulty and never had any problems. And it's such a damn shame because in my opinion, the powers are awesome. But the fact that there's nowhere interesting to progress with these makes this system so disappointing.
I'll find who's behind this.
How about an upgrade that allows me to execute takedowns on heavy enemies? How about a proper multi-takedown upgrade that allows me to take out multiple enemies simultaneously? Because the one we got here is a misleading piece of garbage that's actually about conserving energy so you could take down 2 enemies in a row with 1 energy consumption. But even with the upgrade, there's still a fucking cooldown that you gotta wait after. Then how about an upgrade that unlocks a completely new time-bending ability? Then how about upgrades for jump attacks, special moves, I don't know, slow motion wall running, anything to spice it up a bit. I'm sorry, but this system is just downright lame.
Fuck!
Inconsistencies. When I think about inconsistencies, then Quantum Break is kinda like a cat's litter box that's been collecting turds for weeks. And to think that this game is 2016 makes it so much worse and funnier at the same time. Of course we have minor things like getting stuck in specific places, platforming problems, how you can climb on some things but not others, missing bullet holes. When I shoot the car, there's no bullet holes, but when I shoot this truck, then there's bullet holes. Not to mention the fact that you can make a car explode by shooting it anywhere you want, even the fucking tires. Seriously, that's kindergarten science.
Fuck you.
Next, let's talk about the doors. In different parts of the game, you get to see Jack entering a room by busting through the door. The first detail that caught my attention is the animation. Look at it. He makes it look like breaking through a locked door is just that easy. Why not just shoot the lock or something? That would make so much more sense since, you do have guns in this game. And Jack doesn't care about being quiet anyway. I mean, look at this section. I need to get inside the room, but the door is blocked by barrels. So I go around the corner and there's a big ass gap, which is easily big enough for a human being to fit through. But instead of making sense, you have to shoot the barrels, causing an explosion. Even though a little bit earlier I was able to get inside a room through a gap in the window, which was pretty much the same size. Were they being serious with this, or was there some sick fuck who thought that this is funny?
That's for not listening to me back there.
Secondly, Jack has time-bending powers. In one section, you have to rewind the time back to a point when the door was open, which is cool, but again, in different parts of the game, you can't do that. For example, this section. Here, I have to run behind the corner, rewind the time back in this specific spot so I could climb to the roof, enter the building, run all the way down, and then open the door. And by the way, I don't care what the excuse is, blow me. I hate this limiting bullshit. And in some parts of the game, these bloodthirsty doors can even kill you. No, I'm not making this up. This is actually a thing in this game.
Who the hell designs these doors?
Finally, let's talk about puzzles. What can I say besides that? I haven't seen such laughably easy, poorly thought out environmental puzzles in a long time. Like this one. I need to get inside that place, but the truck's in the way. The first thing I tried was climbing on the truck, obviously. After all, this game does have platforming elements, but surprisingly, you can't do that. Now, excuse the shit out of me, but this grown-up man who shoots and jumps his way out of every possible death scenario can't climb a fucking truck that's just a little bit taller than him. But a few meters away from the truck, there's a van that's pretty much the same size and you can climb on that. Man, what kind of crack were they smoking? So because this game is apparently high on something, I have to rewind the time back, run up to the roof, jump on the truck, and then I can get inside. Game, do you expect me to take this seriously? Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, sir.
My god, these inconsistencies are terrible. You can do certain things only when the story allows it, and at times the game doesn't even play by its own rules, like climbing on specific objects, unlocking powers, going through doors, and so on. That, ladies and gents, is some limiting grade A bullshit. And that's all I can take. So let's get to the conclusion.
It's quite the feat.
Quantum break. More like quantum shit. You know, I wish that I could just go back in time and somehow prevent the development of this game and make them give us Alan Wake 2. I mean, they were already working on it, yet still, instead of that, we got Quantum Break. And... God damn it. The live-action episodes are dumb, the final boss fight is disappointing, the game is lacking a proper cover system and some basic shooting mechanics, power upgrades are boring, puzzles are absolutely laughable, and it's full of stupid inconsistencies, like the game is making fun of itself or the player. You can also make choices in this game that have some ramifications during gameplay segments and live-action episodes, but these changes are so small and no matter what you choose, the game will always end in the same way. And I know that it constantly reminds you that no matter what you do, you cannot change what's gonna happen, blah blah blah.
This path, it's already said it can't be changed.
And it cannot be stopped. It can't be changed. No matter what we do, the pieces fall in all of the exact same places.
But then what the fuck is the point in having the choice in the first place? If there's no actual benefits or downgrades, then these choices might as well just not exist. So, Quantum Break definitely did not live up to my expectations. However, there's still some good to be found. So let's be fair. The first thing that left a good impression on me is the concept. Time is going to end, and it's up to you to stop that from happening. If there's one thing that Quantum Break succeeds with, it's the story. That's the only reason why I finished this game. In my opinion, it's well written and quite well performed thanks to good actors like Shawn Ashmore, Aidan Gillen, Dominic Monaghan, and Lance Reddick. The plot and the overall performances are pretty damn good, and I do have to say the same about the character models. Facial features, lip sync, and voice acting work together amazingly. On the visual side, the game is beautiful, but there's one problem. The cutscenes look great, but during gameplay there's this weird film grain effect that's been plastered all over the screen for some reason. Why was that necessary? I don't know, but it definitely wasn't a good idea, because now we are never gonna see just how beautiful this game could have been. On the gameplay side, for me the strongest elements are the time powers. It's definitely fun and interesting to mess around with these, and the time distortion effects look amazing, especially during these time collapsing sequences when objects are moving back and forth stuck in a loop. So in the end, I can't say that Quantum Break is a bad game. Yes, it has a lot of problems, and unfortunately at the moment I don't think there's ever gonna be a sequel, but it's an average shooter that tells a great story with a very interesting concept and unique ideas. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.